lift the focus from Google TV, the coding part of it, and just go back to what's happening in the old-fashioned TV landscape, that all the amazing things you guys have been working on kind of fit into. So where does your stuff fit into the bigger stuff that's happening on TV? I talked yesterday about connectivity. One of the big themes we're suddenly reflecting on in the TV industry is that you can stick broadband in the back of all these big old-fashioned set-top boxes now, and some interesting things happen, some more interesting than others, some still quite clunky and old-fashioned. When we talked about connectivity yesterday, the big emphasis was what we call in and out of the house. My box now can talk to a server somewhere else outside the house, and that's very interesting. We touched on what that means for on demand. But there's two aspects to connectivity as it affects the TV industry. The other aspect of connectivity is the fact that my box there can now talk to the thing in my hand. So the in and around the house connectivity through the home hub at the moment is just as important, we think, as the in and out of the house connectivity. The fact that suddenly my Skybox can talk to my iPad is opening up all sorts of possibilities. So we just want to show a couple of the second screen things that occur in the UK, so you can kind of reflect on them. I'm going to talk about some stuff that's been launched by a company called ZBox by Sky and by Virgin, and then Will, who actually does some of this stuff properly. I'm just one of these people who stands up in front of other people's creations and enlarges it, but Will's company actually does some really kind of cool stuff, so I'll talk about that. But if we start off with what Sky and Virgin have done, here we look, because I'm organised, I forgot to charge the iPad last night, so hopefully that's got enough charge for the minute, otherwise we will charge as we go. I'm going to use Apple TV as a demo thing. So I'm actually going to use it just so you can see what's going on in my hand. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Apple TV, we're not really going to get into too much detail of it because I think the general sense of Apple TV is that it hasn't arrived yet. There's a thing there with some software. It's got an iOS in it that you can't code into, you can't do anything with. It feels very much like a kind of holding pattern. And picking up on the theme we said yesterday, it doesn't have any ability of managing broadcast. There's no tuners, you can't plug tuners into it and receive broadcast, you can't record broadcast of it. It is just a TV extension of your existing iTunes account. And it was a product that even Apple said was a hobby product and was vaguely kind of sidelined. The thing that suddenly has innovated Apple TV and suddenly made it interesting again, strangely, is iPads. iPads have rejuvenated that device because suddenly they work together. So I'm going to use one of the tricks it can do just to help me in the presentation, but it's not actually the thing I'm meant to be demoing. So I'm going to just put up on here what I've got in front of me. So I'm going to use that TV screen to show you what's on my iPad. Now that's what Apple call mirroring. Now you can do that with TV, and even my old man, who's 81, sits in bed with his iPad, chooses something off BBC iPlayer and sticks it on his Apple TV in the corner. He's not particularly techie bloke, he just likes toys. So he keeps phoning me from Westfield, the shopping centre, saying, I'm in the Apple shop, son, look, what's that Apple TV thing you said? And I said, ask the bloke to get, I've got it. Yeah. So, and he actually got Apple TV home, and I phoned him up a couple of days later and said, Dad, do you want me to come over and set that thing up? Oh, no, I've got it all done, son, it's all right. I plugged it in, it all worked. And I said, yeah, but there's a thing called mirroring. Yeah, no, I've got it. The bloke in the shop told me. I'm flicking on my iPad up on there, I'm watching my BBC iPlayer on the telly. So it is, it's not a bad device in terms of simplicity. And the idea that I can choose telly on here and then just flick it up on TV is actually very compelling. To do what I've done is very compelling. And it's a service we will see more of. I'm going to show you a Virgin example of that in just a sec. But for now, I'm just using that capability so that when I'm talking about this stuff, you can see what I can see in front of me. So yeah, I didn't want to get diverted off onto a presentation about mirroring. So you have now got it, right. I've got Sky on here. I'm briefly just going to turn it onto TV. So I'm using this screen now just to get an aerial feed off the roof. So what you're looking at on there is DTT, digital terrestrial, so free view, straight into the TV screen without going through a set-top box, because this TV screen has got a DTT tuner in it. A couple of years ago, a bloke called Anthony Rose launched this thing. Anthony Rose was one of the original guys who built the BBC iPlayer. And he went away, and everyone knew that Anthony was working on this thing called ZBox, and it was very exciting. No one really knew what it was. But it had the word box on it, so we all assumed he was building one of these things. And he came out with something which is just an app. So I don't know why it's got the word box in the title, because it's not a box. And what it was one of the first vaguely usable second screen apps. So this is it. And the idea is when you set it up, it asks you to do a number of things. You can see up here, it's actually got Little Iberbia Blue's Facebook login. So this room here has a little mythical person called Blue, and this is his room, and all the accounts are set up in his name. So the first thing the thing said was, log in with your Facebook. So, okay, we did that, and then it said, what TV service do you want to use me with? So there's a little settings thing. So we said Freeview, and then we clicked a little thing, and it had a little sniff around the home network, and it said, oh, I found a Samsung telly. Is that the one you want to use me with? And we went, yes, please. So in just a few little button pushes, we had told the app on here who I was, or who Blue was, and which device we wanted to talk to. It had to be on the same broadband. That was the that was one of the key things you come up with, especially in a room like us where we've actually got 8 broadbands, wireless connections in this room. It jumps between you. This has to be on the same wireless broadband as that. However, the assumption normally in someone's home is they will only have one anyway. So it by default tends to be on the same thing. So suddenly we have got a device which can see that TV screen, and the idea is, let's see if it works. Again, this comes back to my never work with children, animals and digital technology. We should be able to use this to change channel. So in a very, very basic form, what we've got here is something which is beginning to threaten the remote control as an interface. So I can sit here and change channel. And the very first time you get one of these things, I would recommend not telling the people you live with, because it's so fucking funny to sit there and change channel and watch people wonder what the hell's going on, because they know they've got the remote control, so it shouldn't be that. So the very basic, we can change channel just by touching the logo. I'm touching BBC Two now. Oops. Hang on. Tap BBC Two, and it sends it to. So it's sending a Wi-Fi command over the system into there and change channel. The other thing you can do, if I touch on the picture for Saturday Kitchen, it pulls in all sorts of program data. So it's attempting to take over the responsibility of the menu system. Now, the menu systems on telly have become so big and complicated. We saw yesterday with Virgin TV on the Sky that everyone thinks this is quite a good idea. If you've got a room full of people and one of them wants to drill into the data for some program or see what's on next, that kind of stuff, actually it's a much better thing to do to do it on here than it is to do it on there, because everyone else can get on watching telly. So bringing the UPG down to here is quite an interesting thing. So that's quite good. And then what they've done some other stuff too. They've put in lots of metadata about the artists and things. But this thing here, they are from various sources, including the, I understand now, if I get this wrong, please, if you know a better insight than me, they are from various sources which include the subtitles feed. They're putting keywords out for about the programme. And the keywords they link into things like Wikipedia, background info. So if you're watching a history show and it mentions the Parthenon, you can click on it and it will link you into Wikipedia and various other links. The idea of that it's possible to have a smart device in your hand which over the home network starts to take control of your telly and at the same time offers a much kind of richer data and experience. And the other thing you can do with this thing, so let's just, that's off there, Coronation Street on ITV2. They have integrated, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, they've integrated social features in here, so that Twitter is in here. Automatically, you go to a program page like this, it shows you the Twitter feed for that show, and you can see what people are tweeting. And if you want to comment,
that's neat.
And it automatically drops in the relevant hashtag, so you automatically see the right social feed for that show without having to know what it is. And if you want to send a tweet, if you just hit on the Twitter button, it automatically drops the right hashtag into the program feed for that show. So I can just say, we like Corrie.
You can retweet.
No, news. Prime News.
Yeah, what hashtag does it, for the news, what hashtag
Just wanted to see what...
it would be BBC News if it's a BBC News programme, or ITV.
Is it just BBC, ITV?
Well, it's whichever one is for the programme. It's for the programme hashtag. So if it's on Channel 4 News, the hashtag will be the Channel 4 News hashtag. So that was the first in the market, and what you'll notice is it's an independent company, that's the key bit, and it's doing something that works with a Freeview box. Now, very quickly they started to make it work with a Sky box and a Virgin box, which we thought was interesting. We couldn't work out why. And then it turned out that Sky were in negotiation to buy part of them. So Sky have actually bought part of Z-Box and have done something with it, which I'll show you now on the Sky box. But that is just if you've got a Freeview box. This is a free app you can download. If you've got your Freeview box is one that's got broadband in the back, it suddenly gives you a whole kind of rich data set on your smart device that you can use to do those things and change channel.
Does it do FreeSat?
Say again?
FreeSat?
It does, yeah. And you just tell it which of the boxes you want to work with, and it knows two things. It knows the channel lineup you'll have in front of you, and so it just gives you the right channel lineup, and it knows the coding sequences you need to change channel on the boxes. So I'm going to flick this now from just basic Freeview in this thing to a skybox. So hopefully, you have Sky. And then I'm just going to shut this down and open up the Sky version. So on my iPad now from me, I've got the Sky version. I just want to make sure that it hasn't dropped the Wi-Fi as I've been standing here. So I've selected a program. It's given me a little intermediate page. I can do two things. I can watch it, and hopefully, I see my buttons. It asked me too many times. I just wanted to change the fucking channels. I don't need 3 iterations of it, so it's interesting. So there we go. So I'm on Sky now, and with Sky's own app. So this is Sky's what we call EPG app, Electronic Program Guide app. So they've taken a lot of the menu stuff that was on the screen and allowed me to have it on here, so I don't interrupt the cricket if I want to go and look at some other programs. Because there's a button down here on the bottom left which is Discover More, and this is where they've put lots of the ZBox type stuff. We go into Discover More. Here is the page where they've taken the ZBox capability and built it into their own EPG. So suddenly, I've got this thing which can change channel on the Skybox and give me various program bits of information. And what they're doing, let's see if we can find a branded page. All channels. Where are we? Let's see. Don't have to select it now. Actually, I've got a picture of one. I'm just going to show you a photo I took this morning because I was watching Grand Prix this morning with this up. And let me swap to photos. Now, I've just done something dangerous. I've come out of the app in the middle of the demo because you never know if it kills the app working. But here we go. So this is the page for the Grand Prix this morning. And you can see what they've done with the page for the Grand Prix. They've actually branded the page, and they've got related sports apps and things showing in the corner. And what they're beginning to do is sell the branding. So if a program sponsor sponsors a show, they're beginning to make this a piece of commercial territory where they're selling the branding. Now, what I want to flag up here is that is about as deep and as useful that a TV platform can make a program-related app. And the thing I mentioned yesterday was there's 2 kinds of apps that we talk about in social TV. There's platform apps, which are about menus, discovery, recommendations and things. But the platforms, BSkyB and Virgin, because they don't make the programs tend to come from broadcasters, they don't have the ability to really deeply integrate with content. So they just kind of hang around the edges, and all they can do is expand the level of magazine-style metadata around the program. In a minute, we're going to talk about program apps, where if it's the program maker or the broadcast channel, they can do a completely different set of things because they have the ability to integrate their second screen stuff with the program making. So if you think about it, at the moment we are really just the shopkeeper still. We're playing with BSkyB's system here, and all they can do is play with publicly available data about the program unless they have a deep relationship with the broadcaster. Let's see if I've killed the app working. Sometimes when you swap out of it like that. Right. Will it change channel for us still?
So that photo that you put up, that was a screenshot from you?
Yeah. I was sitting here this morning setting it up for the presentation, watching Grand Prix.
Right.
And I had it live on here, and I was just screenshotting with the iPad functionality, just grabbing it because I thought, I wanted to show people that picture.
Okay.
But I knew the program would be over
Right.
by the time we sat down, so I just thought, that's a nice picture to show it. So that's what it was. So we're still working. At the moment, the Sky app here, all it does is provide me with an EPG that works, change the channel, which I have to say, 5 years ago, we'd have fallen off our chair had we seen this. The idea that I can change channel on here by pressing something, there's a pink page. There we go, there's a branded page. James, isn't that lovely? So again, a branded program page for the program with branded backdrops, extra pictures. So clearly the Sky have received artwork from the broadcaster. There's been some kind of integration and interaction with the broadcaster to swap program pictures and backdrops and patterns and things, and they've created an enhanced page. I don't know if there's a commercial relationship between these guys to do that. You would have thought that there probably would be. That's a BBC Two show. Do they pay Sky extra stuff? I'm not sure. I would guess that a platform like BSkyB would want a broadcaster to pay the money to enhance their presence in this page and to include extra branded stuff. But that's a commercial thing, not a tech thing. So it opens up a whole new range of commercial possibilities in here to do it. But again, the Sky app currently just works as a menu with lots and lots of information, enhanced metadata, deep linking. I can record through here, and I can also, if I'm out of the house, I can send commands back to record. So if I'm in Starbucks and think, forgot to record the Grand Prix, I can just open this up, press record from in here. So like Saturday Politics hasn't started, it should give me the record function. There we go. Record once or record series. So I've recorded Saturday thing in the Skybox, and I can do that out of the house. And that's it for the minute. The reason I'm stressing that that's all it does, I just want to show you the Virgin app, which has taken it one evolutionary step further. So let's flick onto Virgin. And I'm going to flick onto Virgin here. And this is the only building in the whole of the UK you can do this. This is my Iberia advert today.
Yeah, I got a call from Pet Australia about this.
Actually, we had Freeview Australia on Friday. They came from Australia to sit and do exactly the same thing. So, the Virgin version, exactly the same. We can change channel. We can watch now, hopefully. Oh, it's nice when it works. When you have 25 people staring at you and the tech doesn't work. So, Virgin version, same thing. They've taken the EPG, moved it onto screen, onto the iPad, allowed me to mess around here. I can do the same thing. I can record. I can look at extras. I can look at more information about the show. That's all very nice. All very functional. I like it a lot. The other thing, however, this has begun to do. If I walk out of the room and I'm watching something, let's choose a show. Big questions. I should. Oh no, not BBC One. Some of them, they've only got certain channels. Let me just go to the streaming channels. Can you see me selecting there? So Virgin have just started to do deals with broadcasters to allow them to stream the channels around the house. So if I'm watching Heroes of Comedy, watch now, something else has appeared on the screen there. I've just selected it. It says, do you want to watch an iPad? Yes, please. And at that point, it starts mirrors my iPad. Now that there, what you're seeing there, Virgin have not allowed the Apple function to work on Apple TV. So that decision, the fact that the mirroring is not allowed, see, it says video mirroring is not allowed, commercial decision on behalf of the Virgin platform to not allow it. So I'm, however, watching Heroes of Comedy on my iPad in the other room, because we may have been watching on here. So if you're watching something with someone you live with on the main TV, you want to go to the kitchen and carry on and do some stuff whilst carry on watching it. The idea is you change channel first, and then, let's do that. Watch now on TV, change channel, and then watch on iPad. It's interesting to see what the delay is. There is a bit of a delay, yeah. Yeah, so a reasonable delay there actually. So the question is whether it's good enough. So
how many can you watch at once?
How many iPads?
Yeah.
The limiting factor is the number of tuners in the box.
Right.
Now this is a 3-tuner box, so theoretically the box can do 3 things at the same time. It can present a broadcast channel, it can record a channel, and it can stream a channel. So you can do 3 things at once based on the number of tuners.
What about if 10 people want to watch the same channel?
Around the house?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that question. I'll find it because it's an interesting question actually. I'll find out. At Las Vegas this year, we saw the next generation of US boxes, and they all had between 6 and 8 tuners, which meant that 6 or 8 people around the house could do the same time, do something different. Whether more can do the same channel, I don't know. It's a good question. I will find out. But the general sense is that as we had more and more screens around our house, the platforms, so Sky, Virgin, and at some point BT and TalkTalk and YouView, are creating set-top boxes which are going to allow them to project themselves both in terms of menu system, and we saw the first few things we looked at, and also stream video onto every screen in the house. And the idea is, if you've got a smart screen in your bedroom, if you're lucky enough to have one of these, you can just put a Virgin app on there, a version of this, and it will just play, your screen will talk to your set-top box, so it's like multi-room gone mental, in the most brilliant way. If your screen in your bedroom is just a normal TV with HDMI, you can get a little puck, a bit like the Apple TV puck, that sits next to your TV with an HDMI cable into it, and that does the talking to the box downstairs. So you can turn an old telly into a connected telly in this new system. So it looks like the set-top boxes are going to use home networking and second screen and smart screen as a way of creating this multi-room gone absolutely mental setup where they can project their operation onto every screen in the house. So
When you say you'll have a Virgin app on that,
yeah.
are you downloading apps onto your smart
Yeah,
TV?
so this is a smart telly.
Right.
When that system comes out, I will go to the Samsung apps area one day
Got it.
and say, have you got the new connected home app from Virgin?
Got it.
And it will be in there, and I'll say, yeah, I want that one on here because I've got a Virgin box downstairs, and I'll download the smart app from Virgin.
Okay.
And when I gun it up one day, it will have a little sniff around the broadband network and say, oh, I found the little Virgin box downstairs. Is that the one you want me to talk to? And I go, yes, please. And then suddenly my smart TV up in the bedroom, this thing is talking over the home network to my big fat Virgin box down here with a 2 terabyte hard drive and 6 tuners and yeah.
So basically, we're turning our television into a computer and our second screen into a television.
In many ways, yeah.
Got it.
And we're turning our set-top box into a home media server.
Yeah, it's like a server.
Yeah, it becomes a home media server that can stream live channels to 6 slave screens or 8 slave screens around the home.
Got it.
Yeah. Now, everything I've just talked about is about discovery. It's menus, moving stuff on here. Nothing I've talked about really is about program apps and things. I was going to fling over to Will from Showcaster. Do you need any toys, or are you just going to talk?
Yeah, if we could get an iPad talking to this, that'd be great.
Well, let's cover the one for research when you got
Environment for consumption and viewing content. It's a very bad environment for input and all that kind of stuff. The second screen, and by that we mean the iPads, iPhones, all that kind of stuff. That's a great environment for control and consumption, so for control and input. So a great keyboard, great environment for discovering content, all that kind of stuff. Where the TV just isn't naturally. So we're just based across the road, above the club workspace actually, where you guys have been working, and we work with big broadcasters, particularly in the UK, like Channel 4 and Sky and the BBC, to help them create engaging second screen experiences. And the TV world isn't the most progressive world in the world. So, you know, a lot of what you see on TV, you'd think, oh, that's easy, or oh, why hasn't that been done 5 years ago? But that's just the nature of the TV world. It it doesn't jump on every emerging technology as it happens. So some of the things that we work on, for example, are bringing Twitter feeds onto TV. We've just finished on Got to Dance, and behind Davina McCall, who's a presenter, there's a huge wall with animated graphics and tweets and stuff flying across. And that's that's something that's not actually happening that much on TV. Hashtags come up on TV quite a lot, but actually bringing the tweets onto screen is quite interesting. And on some shows, they're starting to use that to drive the direction of the show. So particularly on live formats, they'll use that to drive the content, the direction of the show, which gives viewers, for the first time, kind of control over what's happening on the show and what's going on, which is interesting. We also use polls in the same way. So, for example, integrated into ZBox, you can sit there in ZBox. A poll will come up on screen. You can use ZBox to cast your vote, and you can see that dynamically coming up along the bottom of the screen on TV. The results of how all the audience is voting. So we do some of that stuff. And also video, which is really interesting, and there's a lot of experimentation here, because one thing broadcasters don't want to be doing too much of is distracting you from their core property, which they're investing huge amounts of money in. But they're very much open for experimentation. So Formula One, for example, which is actually nothing to do with us, but Sky has got, anyone who's a Formula One fan, has got a great second screen app where you can choose which car you want to watch. You can watch the director's cut on TV, and on your iPad you can say, I want to jump onto Alonso's car, and you can watch the camera on his car live whilst watching the director's cut on TV. That's really cool, and that appeals to the Formula One type mindset as well, because it's quite a techie audience in many instances. So stuff like that is really interesting. We also run for Channel 4 and others. We run we've been experimenting a lot with companion formats where you can watch a show on TV, with the cast on your iPad. So, for example, Skins, which is a fairly trashy kind of like reality format in the UK. The pre-recorded show would go out on TV, and
No, you can talk. I'll just
sorry,
Charlie's
you-
move over so the lady can see.
right.
Well, we started with the
and the cast would be together watching the show as well, a screening as it's called, and we'd be filming the cast, and the audio would be muted on the iPad, but you'd be able to watch the show with the cast, and you could interact with the cast as well, so you could see them reacting, leaping up with excitement when something cool happened, and cringing when something bad happened. And you could ask the cast questions, so you could fire questions in on your iPad, and the cast would respond. So stuff like that, really interesting. A lot of broadcasters are really trying to get their heads around what's going on here, because there is a lot of activity happening on the second screen, and it's important that the broadcasters curate that. A lot of the activity is happening completely off the broadcaster's properties, just in Facebook or in Twitter. So they kind of want to be in control of that. One other thing, we'll give you a quick demo actually of something which we're just about to launch, and we'll be launching this with a number of broadcasters in the UK, which is clip sharing, which is a really simple concept, but it's a great second screen concept. So you can share whatever you've seen on TV with your friends. Is
Do you
that
want to fire up? Can we get just Sky News?
Sky, yeah.
Yeah, news would be great, actually.
or BBC News?
Or BBC News.
BBC's better, isn't it? So this is the iPad. This is what you're lying on the sofa. You're watching that on the
Isn't it that
iPad.
politicians are crazier in HD?
It's always interesting doing.
They're scarier.
Sunday.
It's always interesting doing these live demos because you're never quite sure what content you're gonna get on there. Anyway, so this hasn't launched yet, but it will be launching shortly. The idea is it's really simple. You're watching your content on here, and on your iPad or your phone or your laptop or whatever you've got in your hand, you're probably doing a whole load of stuff, social stuff anyway. And if you see something really interesting on there, you can just grab the last 30 seconds and you can share it. So here you can see, here's the iPad, Charlie's iPad in his hand. This would be embedded within the Sky News app or the Sky News website.
And Z-Box.
Z-Box as well, exactly. And if Charlie hits grab now, that has grabbed the last 30 seconds in real time of what's going on there, and you can play that and you can watch that clip. And that's the last 30 seconds of whatever you've just seen on there. So it's like grabbed in real time. If Charlie's got the wrong clip there, he can re-grab the last 30 seconds, and that will just take another snapshot. Once you've got your clip that you're happy with, it'll pre-fill the hashtag like you saw on Z-Box, and you add your comment, and you then share it across Facebook and or Twitter. And then your clip's shared, and you can also see a time, and that's gone out into Facebook and Twitter. You can watch your clip within Facebook, you can watch your clip within Twitter, and it will then drive viewers back to the broadcasters' on-demand platforms. So it's all about creating more viewers for the broadcasters. And down here you can also see clips and comments that other people have grabbed from this channel and shared with their friends. So if you want to roll back through a timeline like you missed a moment, yeah.
Is there any kind of metadata embedded in the
KPI.
There isn't at the moment, but there's lots of. Data is a really core part of this kind of thing because one thing that video doesn't do very well is index. So it's really hard to search for good video just by the nature of the fact that it is video. So here you've got kind of viewers creating actually their own comments and a really interesting metadata that could be used by the broadcasters. But at the moment it's very much in its infancy.
When does it go release date?
No, it's not. Well, it's ready from a platform and tech perspective. It's now about the broadcasters integrating it with their apps and their stuff.
Is it Sky First then?
Don't know.
Is this
Whoever jumps.
subscription?
No, so the commercial model. This is something the broadcasters will put up onto their properties, and
It's not available yet.
it's not available now. No. It's just launching now.
This is my concept. No.
Great.
This is what.
We can have a chat afterwards about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's very simple, and things like post-roll ads can go on the back, which works for the broadcasters. So at the end of each clip, you can watch a 5-second ad from a sponsor, Rimmel or whoever it might be.
Yeah, just on that.
Quick question. It says about you grab the last 30 seconds. What if you miss on the actual live feed? You miss the 30 seconds that you wanted to capture. Do you get to go back and choose that's the 30 seconds I want? Or if it's
a great
too
question.
late,
So it's a great question. So these are the debates. We've done focus groups and all this kind of stuff with users, and you can debate this till the cows come home as to whether you should keep the user experience really simple and you can just grab the last 30 seconds, or whether you should have a more complex kind of editing type platform where more advanced users can go back through time. Initially, we're launching with 30 seconds. If you miss a clip, the idea is you can go back down the timeline and you can find a clip that someone else grabbed and you can reshare that. Providing it's obviously a busy channel and there's lots of clips being grabbed. I'm sure in phase 2 we'll be enhancing the capabilities of it. But at the moment,
did you talk about why 30 seconds? Well,
30 seconds 30 seconds is key for a number of reasons, but from a rights perspective, 30 seconds is often deemed fair game. So in the music, if you're an iTunes user, you'll know you can preview sort of 30 seconds of each track, and that's a deal that Apple's done with the record labels, and they're happy for people to do that, providing you can only get 30 seconds, and then you go on to purchase the full content. Similarly here, you can watch 30 seconds, and if you want more, you go back to the on-demand platform, for on-demand or iPlayer or whatever it might be, to watch the full show.
If somebody shares this on Facebook and I see it, will it have a link back to your site?
No.
It'll have a link back to the original content?
To the broadcasters, yes. So it's all about, exactly. So when the show's going out linear, it's all about driving viewers to the TV, so there's more conversation happening around the TV, and then afterwards back to the on-demand.
And is it just the general, this Sky TV, or does Sky actually say, well, for this channel, for this program, we want this link to go out?
So for each channel, or for each program, you can link back to a different area within the broadcasters.
And the broadcaster kind of says to you, we want this to go to this page because we've created a page for that program.
Exactly. And one thing to be, from a technical perspective, this isn't actually integrated with anything in your home. So it kind of feels quite magical that you've just grabbed the last 30 seconds of what you've seen on TV. But actually the way it's working from a technical perspective is we have a kind of like TV ingesting facility where we've got satellite dishes on the roof. We're pulling all the TV feeds in and doing it that way. So you don't have to have a smart TV or a Skybox or an Apple TV or anything like that. This is actually pulling this content here over the internet in real time. So it works for all 20 million households or whatever there are out there,
So
even if
are
you've
you
got a
just
shitty old
recording
TV.
the time someone starts it and then...
Correct. When you hit that grab button, it gives you the last 30 seconds. So obviously it doesn't work if you're watching on catch up or on PVR or that sort of thing. It doesn't work. This is for linear playouts. So when you're watching it as it's broadcast, that's when it works.
With that story we were telling yesterday, what I love about this is that I'm really intriguing functionality that enhances the live broadcast experience. So this is another functionality which actually makes it better to be watching a live broadcast stream than to be watching something else. So it's another functionality for a 21st century broadcaster to offer.
And the broadcasters love that, right? So they have got all these catch-up platforms and they've got all the rest of it, but their kind of holy grail is still getting loads of people to watch TV at once and creating interesting conversation around that and creating, communities around that and that sort of thing. That is what the broadcaster's kind of ultimate goal is still at the moment. I think it will be, for the foreseeable future.
And brands as well. So part of the ecosystem is the broadcasters obviously need brands to sponsor the shows, and we've seen quite an appetite on this because ultimately, a lot of the brands, an example here, Tresemme, might be doing a show and they need to build their social strategy, but having clips that are out there is great for them. And they can embed this into their Facebook pages, so they can drive their fans of their show to their Facebook page where they can grab and share clips. So instantly they're bringing them onto the assets they want them on, and that's really key now for a lot of the brands because they're looking at ways to engage. Because watching a show on TV is great, but if you've got people here as they're browsing on the device, they're grabbing clips, they're going to Facebook, they're seeing the adverts, and they're making purchases, and that's really key.
What's the next step after news then? Because news is probably the least valuable in terms of time, but then I've just seen things like football goals.
So if you look at
movies, it'd be...
Yeah, if you look at rights, movies are quite hard, and actually sharing clips from movies is probably... there are other formats that are more interesting almost. So reality formats are great because the broadcasters own the rights to those. So all the trash like The Only Way is Essex and all that kind of stuff. And also they have really social audiences. So they already trend very high on Twitter. So they're great for this kind of stuff. Sport would be great, but it's quite challenging from a rights perspective. There's all the big shiny floor formats like X Factor, Take Me Out, those kind of things. They're very social. They have big viewer audiences, and you also get these calamity moments that people like to share where someone did something disastrous or whatever. Live formats are always good because you get slip-ups and cock-ups, and people love sharing slip-ups and cock-ups, not the broadcasters like that. So there's There's all sorts of potential, but really we just wanted to give you an idea of kind of what the broadcasters are doing and what we're doing with the broadcasters in terms of sharing content.
And for you guys as well, when kind of ideas and concepts, we're trying to work directly with the broadcasters, but we're also approaching all of the production companies. So we're basically attacking all of the landscape, because a lot of the production companies take forward all of the ideas and the innovations to the broadcasters to say we're working on a show, we're pitching it in, and they can then pitch it in with the likes of, we've got a Z-Box app for it, which also has this grabbing service, because the broadcasters are inundated with requests for new services, and they just can't put them all in, or you can see all of those companies. So if you go to production companies, they're often willing to see you because they're looking for innovations that they will then pitch in.
Does it work like YouTube in the sense, like you create an account? Because I mean, like on YouTube, a lot of people use it like it's not supposed to be like used as a blog format, but like people tend to have a trend with what kind of videos they upload and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like, would you be able to create an account and then obviously it shows like my videos and then?
Yeah. So at the moment you connect to Facebook and Twitter, but the idea of being able to follow influential users, so if you want to follow Stephen Fry and what he's clipping and all that kind of stuff, those are all things that we'd definitely like to look at. At the moment, it's super simple. It's kind of what you saw there. There's, but once you've got a community there, once you've got those people using it, there's so many possibilities. You can create competitive elements as well. So, particularly on formats where you've got kind of obsessed teenage fans, you can create competitive elements like who created the clip that got shared the most, all that kind of stuff. Here's your top 10. Incentivize people to do it.
But I think it's like the argument with Twitter and Facebook. Like with Twitter, you're given only a certain amount of characters, so you have to be very direct in what you're trying to say. So the 30-second idea, in effect, is direct as to what you're trying to get across, really.
It's also kind of democratizing. It enables users to feel like they're creating their own professional content. So user-generated content is generally just shite, right? And it's all well and good watching a dog skateboarding, but and professional content is fantastic, but it doesn't feel like you've ever created that. Whereas here, you kind of got that. You've got that bridge where users feel like they can create their own professional content. So hopefully that's a new area for users to play around with.
Cool.
Yeah. I'll leave you guys to it. But
just one thing I was saying.